Imagine you're standing on a vast, wind-swept plateau, high in the Andes Mountains of Bolivia. The air is thin, and the only sounds are the wind and your own heartbeat. Before you, a field of impossibly large stones lies scattered, as if thrown aside by some ancient titan-like force. These aren't just rocks, these are megalithic blocks, some weighing over 100 tons, cut and shaped with a precision that modern technology would struggle to replicate. Welcome to Puma Punku. Now, forget everything you think you know about ancient civilizations. For decades, we've studied the pyramids of Egypt, the monuments of Stonehenge, and the temples of Rome, marveling at the ingenuity and sheer labor of our ancestors. But Puma Punku is different. It's an anomaly. It's a puzzle with pieces that simply don't fit our timeline of human history. Look closer. You'll see blocks made of granite and diorite, incredibly hard stone, carved with razor-sharp angles, perfect straight lines, and geometric precision that seems to defy the known tools of its time. How did they achieve this? With primitive copper chisels? With simple stone hammers? Archaeologists and engineers have tried to replicate these cuts with the tools available to ancient peoples, and they've all come to the same conclusion: it's practically impossible. Puma Punku isn't just a ruin, it's a challenge. It forces us to ask unsettling questions. Was there a lost civilization with technology we can't even begin to imagine? Did a cataclysmic event erase all evidence of their existence? Or have we simply underestimated our ancient ancestors on a scale we can barely comprehend? In this video, we're going to dive deep into the enduring mystery of Puma Punku. We'll explore the impossible precision of its stonework, test the conventional theories, and open our minds to the truly mind-blowing possibilities. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew. The truth is out there, buried in the stones of Puma Punku. Now that we've set the scene, let's get into the heart of the mystery. Let's talk about the stones themselves, because this is where Puma Punku stops being just a ruin and starts becoming a fundamental challenge to our understanding of the past. Imagine you're an ancient stonemason. Your tools are simple: a stone hammer, a chisel, maybe made of copper. Your goal? To shape a piece of rock. Now let's add the first layer of difficulty. The stones at Puma Punku aren't limestone or sandstone. They are andesite and diorite. This isn't just rock. This is one of the hardest types of stone on Earth. On the Mohs scale of mineral hardness, steel is around a 5. Andesite and diorite? They're up to an 8. To put that in perspective, cutting this stone with a copper chisel would be like trying to cut a diamond with a spoon. It's a completely futile effort. Yet here they are. Thousands of blocks, some weighing over 130 tons, cut with a precision that seems to defy the very nature of the material. And it's not just about the size, it's about the details. Look at these H blocks, these incredible interlocking pieces. They're not just square blocks stacked on top of each other. They're meticulously carved puzzle pieces, designed to fit together with a precision so tight you can't even slide a sheet of paper between them. This isn't just skilled craftsmanship. This is a level of engineering that we consider modern. And it goes even deeper. Take a look at these grooves. These are perfectly straight, perfectly parallel cuts, sometimes several inches deep, as if a modern milling machine had passed over the stone. There are no telltale signs of hand tools, no wobble, no unevenness. They are mathematically precise. We see right angles that are exactly 90 degrees, and complex internal angles that are perfectly 45 degrees. How can this be done with a simple pounding stone? The abrasive techniques that archaeologists suggest, using sand and water, might be able to smooth the surface, but they can't create these razor-sharp, intricate cuts and uniform grooves. It just doesn't add up. And then there's the polish. The surfaces of many of these blocks aren't just smooth. They're polished to an almost mirror-like finish. We know ancient cultures could polish stone, but typically only on softer materials and often with incredible time and labor. To achieve this level of finish on diorite, one of the hardest stones on the planet, with no signs of the tools that did the work, it's beyond baffling. The deeper we look, the more questions arise. What was the purpose of these intricate carvings? These eye-shaped grooves and symmetrical recesses? Were they meant to hold some kind of metal clamp? If so, what kind of metal and where are the thousands of clamps that would have been needed? Why this complex interlocking system for a structure that was ultimately brought down by some cataclysmic event? Puma Punku isn't just a collection of big rocks. It's an instruction manual from a lost civilization, but we've lost the Rosetta Stone to read it. The stones themselves are the most compelling evidence we have, and they tell a story of technological sophistication that doesn't fit into any chapter of human history that we've written so far. It forces us to confront a possibility that is both humbling and exhilarating, that we may have forgotten more than we remember. So, we've established the what, we've seen the impossible materials and the incredible precision. Now, let's confront the most challenging question of all, the how. How did an ancient civilization with no knowledge of the wheel, no writing system we can decipher, and no iron tools, achieve this? The conventional theories, what you'll find in most history books, are based on what we know was available at the time. They suggest that the builders used a combination of brute force and simple tools. For cutting and shaping the stone, archaeologists theorize they used a technique called abrasing. This means pounding the stone with even harder, football-sized dolerite hammers to create a rough shape, then grinding it down with sand and water. For intricate work, they might have used copper or bronze chisels. The idea is that with enough time, enough labor, and enough patience, anything is possible. But here's where we have to stop and think critically. We have to look at the evidence with an engineer's eye, not just a historian's. Because if you actually try to replicate these cuts using those tools, the theory completely falls apart. Think about what abrasive grinding does. It creates smooth, curved surfaces. It's a grinding motion. It doesn't create sharp internal corners. It doesn't create the perfect, straight-as-an-arrow lines that we see everywhere at Puma Punku. If you used a pounding stone to create these blocks, the surface would be rough and convex, not flat and polished like a tabletop. The evidence on the ground simply doesn't match the process. And what about the tools themselves? Copper and bronze are too soft to effectively work andesite and diorite, which again are harder than steel. You would blunt a copper chisel after just a few strikes. To create a single block, you would need to go through hundreds, if not thousands, of chisels. And where's the waste? The archaeological record shows no evidence of the monumental amount of worn-out tools that would have been required for a project of this scale. Most damning of all, there are no tool marks. If you look at the surfaces of these blocks under a microscope, you don't see the tiny, telltale signs of a chisel, a hammer, or an abrasive tool. The surfaces are almost sterile. It's as if they were cut by something we simply don't have a record of. So, this leaves us with a monumental gap in our understanding, a technological void. On one side, we have an ancient civilization with what we assume were primitive tools. On the other, we have structures with precision that looks like it came from a modern machine shop. The two sides don't connect. This is where the more unorthodox and, to be honest, more exciting theories come in. The evidence forces us to consider a possibility that many are uncomfortable with. What if we're wrong about everything? What if this wasn't a civilization with primitive tools, but one with a lost, advanced technology? Could they have had some knowledge of sonic vibration to make the stone brittle, allowing for easier cutting? Could they have possessed some kind of advanced measuring instruments that allowed for this micron-level precision? Was there some kind of advanced knowledge, perhaps about the physical properties of matter, that was completely lost to us? We have no proof, of course. But when the conventional answers are so clearly inadequate, we are forced to look beyond them. Puma Punku isn't just about stone cutting. It's about a lost form of knowledge. It's a ghost in our historical timeline, a silent witness to a past we can't quite grasp. The conventional theories fail to explain the very evidence before our eyes. And so the question remains, if they didn't use the tools we know, what on earth did they use? So, we've broken down the conventional theories and we've opened the door to the idea of a lost, advanced technology. But the mystery of Puma Punku goes far beyond just how the stones were cut. To truly understand this ancient enigma, we have to look at the site itself, not as a finished masterpiece, but as a crime scene left in the wake of an unimaginable catastrophe. The stones themselves, in their current chaotic state, hold the most compelling clues. Look at the destruction. The massive blocks, some weighing hundreds of tons, aren't just neatly toppled over. They are scattered, fractured, and in some cases, thrown hundreds of feet away from their original foundations. It looks as if a giant, invisible hand picked up the structure and smashed it against the ground. This isn't the work of invaders or looters. They would have taken the valuable parts and left the rest intact. This is the evidence of a cataclysmic event. But what kind of event? An earthquake of unprecedented magnitude, a flash flood. The sheer force required to move these megalithic blocks suggests a power far beyond any natural disaster we've ever witnessed in this region. This destruction is a testament to the fact that whatever this civilization was, it ended abruptly and violently. Now, let's talk about the lack of evidence. The absence of something can often be as telling as its presence. We've already discussed the lack of tool marks, but what about the tools themselves? The archaeological record at Puma Punku is strangely devoid of a monumental number of tools that would have been required for a project of this scale. Where are the thousands of worn-out pounding stones and broken copper chisels? They simply don't exist in a quantity that matches the work. This suggests a more efficient, less disposable technology was at play, something that didn't leave a trail of waste and discarded tools. And what about the builders? The people of Tiwanaku, the famous civilization from the nearby site, are often credited as the builders. But if you look closely at the two sites, you see a significant technological disparity. Tiwanaku's stonework, while masterful, is visibly less precise. Its famous Gate of the Sun is a single carved monolith, impressive in its own right, but it lacks the interlocking puzzle piece precision and razor-sharp internal angles of Puma Punku. It begs the question, did the people of Tiwanaku build Puma Punku? Or did they simply inherit the technology and the site from an earlier, more advanced civilization? Could Puma Punku be a precursor, a lost origin point for the stonework that defined Tiwanaku? The connections are there, but the skill gap is undeniable. And finally, let's consider the mystery of the I and T-shaped grooves. We've seen them carved into many of the stones. Conventional theories suggest these were for metal clamps, perhaps made of bronze. But where are they? We have found some small clamps in Tiwanaku, but they are a tiny fraction of what would have been needed to hold together a structure of this scale. The fact that the clamps are missing but the grooves remain leads to a chilling possibility. Maybe they weren't clamps at all. Maybe they were part of a more sophisticated, now lost technology. Could these grooves have held a completely different material, a different purpose that we can't even begin to imagine? Puma Punku is a riddle written in stone. It presents us with a series of silent, unanswered questions. How did it end? What kind of technology left no trace? And who were the true masters of this incredible craft? The more we learn, the less we seem to know. And for now, that is the enduring legacy of Puma Punku. We've journeyed through the impossible. We've looked at the mind-bending precision, the unbelievable materials, and the evidence of a catastrophic end. We've challenged our assumptions about what was possible for ancient humans. Now, as the sun sets over the Bolivian highlands, we are left with the final and perhaps most important question. What does this all mean? Puma Punku isn't just a pile of ancient rocks. It is a monument to a profound and enduring mystery. It's a silent, stone library of knowledge, but we've lost the key to read it. Its legacy is not just the incredible stonework, but the monumental challenge it presents to us today. It's a ghost in our historical timeline, a glaring contradiction that forces us to question everything we've been taught about the human past. Every tour guide, every archaeologist, every engineer who stands here is confronted with the same inescapable dilemma. The evidence doesn't match the timeline. It's a puzzle box that simply doesn't have a place on our shelf of known history. Could it be that we've been looking at human history all wrong? That there was a golden age of engineering, a period of advanced knowledge, that was completely wiped from our collective memory? This site forces us to confront our own arrogance. We often look at ancient civilizations and see them through the lens of our own modern technological superiority. We marvel at their craftsmanship, but we assume it was all done through brute force, trial, and error. Puma Punku shatters that assumption. It hints at a level of sophistication that we can barely wrap our minds around, a technological leap that seems to have appeared and then vanished without a trace. And in that sense, Puma Punku is a beautiful, terrifying reminder of how fragile knowledge can be. A cataclysmic event, a lost civilization, and centuries later, we are left with nothing but these stones, a whisper of what was. The true mystery isn't who they were, but what they knew, and what happened to that knowledge. So as we leave this incredible place, I want you to carry this question with you. If a civilization could achieve this, what else is out there that we've yet to discover? What other secrets are buried beneath the sands and lost to the passage of time? Puma Punku is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, and it begs us to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to never stop wondering.